Morocco were not supposed to be this good in 2026. There is a debate happening in world football right now that most people don't want to say out loud. Because if you look at the results, the structure and consistency, Morocco isn't just Africa's strongest team anymore. They are Africa's first modern football superpower. But here's the real question. How did that happen? For decades, African football had a clear identity. Nigeria had talent, Cameroon had power, Ghana had discipline, Senegal had some sort of athletic dominance. And what about Morocco? They were respected, yes, but certainly not feared. A team that qualified, a team that competed, but never a team expected to change the world stage. Nothing about them suggested a takeover was coming, but that assumption was wrong. Because while the rest of the nations were trying to win the next match, Morocco was building something entirely different. No headlines, no hype, no trophies, just a clear structure. They invested in football academies, national training centers, long-term youth development systems, and this is the key detail everyone misses. They weren't just trying to build a team, they were building a pipeline. A system that would produce players consistently and not occasionally. But at that time, it looked like nothing was happening. Then came the second layer, and this is where things get controversial. Morocco expanded its talent search beyond borders. They started identifying players of Moroccan heritage across Europe. France, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, players trained in elite European academies but eligible for Morocco through origin. This wasn't just recruitment, it was a strategy, but it created a weird debate. Is Morocco a traditional national team or a global football network? But suddenly, their squad wasn't just limited by geography anymore. It was expanded by identity. And then came Qatar 2022. Nobody expected anything unusual, but Morocco didn't just compete. They changed the entire tournament narrative. Spain eliminated, Portugal knocked out, historic semi-final run, and suddenly Africa had a new headline. But here's what people got wrong. They thought this was a miracle. But internally it was preparation finally meeting execution. The system had finally matured. After Qatar 2022, something strange happened. Because football doesn't stay surprised for long, it starts looking for answers. Suddenly, Morocco wasn't just being admired, it was being dissected. Pundits, analysts, coaches, everyone started asking the same question. Was this brilliance or was it just a one tournament wonder? So the breakdown began. They looked how Morocco stayed compact under pressure, how they closed central spaces, how they transitioned from defense to attack, because nobody could understand how a team could look this organized under that level of pressure. And this created a shift. Morocco was no longer just seen as a team, they became a problem to solve. This changed everything, because before 2022, teams underestimated Morocco. After that, every opponent prepared differently. Not just tactics, but special plans. Because you don't prepare normally for a team that eliminated Spain and Portugal. So now Morocco wasn't just playing football anymore. They were playing against teams trying to solve them. The impact didn't stop at international football only. Something else happened. Morocco players suddenly gained global attention. More transfer interest, bigger club responsibilities, and higher expectations in Europe. So at this point, Moroccan players are seen as system players, players who understood structure, discipline, and control. And that reputation follows you everywhere. Club football, international football, even in career expectations. But here's the real question. Because in football history, many teams have had moments, but very few survive what comes after. Aftershock pressure is different. Now, opponents adapt, expectations rise, mistakes are magnified, and suddenly every match feels heavier. It's no longer about surprising the world, it's about proving you belong at the very top. And this is where most teams collapse. Not at the peak, but after the peak, simply because consistency is harder than breakthrough. Morocco now faces higher expectations, deeper analysis, and less room for surprise. The system that once gave them an advantage is now being copied, studied, and countered. And that's the full story. But it doesn't really end there, because Morocco didn't just become a superpower in a single moment. They became something else entirely, a project that kept evolving even after the world noticed. This was a project that was not built on a single generation. It was not built on one tournament, and it was certainly not built on a miracle. It was built on layers of long-term investment, silent infrastructure, a global network of diaspora, a breakthrough that shocked the world, and now the pressure of expectation. And that is what makes them dangerous, because most teams rise and then fade. But Morocco didn't just rise, they organized their rise. So maybe Morocco isn't just a story about becoming Africa's best team. Maybe it's a story about what football is becoming, and the rest of the world is just trying to catch up.